Khan. All praises to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Um, all praise to the Most High. Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel. This is Captain Kairam from the Light of Zion. Khan.
Hallelujah. This is Officer Nathaniel Allah from the Light of Zion.
Shalom. All praise to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is your officer Obadiah from Light of Zion, Lee County. Shalom.
This is Officer Asher from the Light of Zion. All praise to the Most High.
Khan, all praise to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel. If you just tune in, and make sure you like the video. Make sure you say shalom. Right. Make sure you continue to comment. Send this to your family members. I was about to set up the Christmas tree. Right. Send it to your family members. I got the lights for the decorations for Christmas. Right. Send it to your family members that still got the Thanksgiving leftovers in the fridge. Right. We got to wake up our people. We got to repent as the true Jews, the real Israelites. Right. The descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. We have to wake up in these last days. Right. Because the Most High is waking us up, man. Right. The title of this class is The Rise of Jacob and the Fall of Esau. Right. The thing that's going to happen to Esau, it's progressive, man. You're going to see these things happen. Right. It's going to be a gradual decline. Right. A gradual, painful destruction that's going to happen to the children of Esau or Edom, the Idumeans. Right. So before we get started, could somebody open up with the book of Colossians chapter 3, verse 17, Baba Kusha?
This is the book of Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the power and the Father by him.
So everything that we do, we give all glory and honor to the Most High Yahweh through his son Yahushua. Right? All praise to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So so before we get started, we're gonna jump into a couple things. Before we pull up this link, can somebody give me the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9? Baba Gushad, the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9.
Khan. You hear me?
Khan.
Oh, okay. Cut me out. So, all right, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9.
Khan.
For Esau is the end of the world.
And that's a beautiful thing, right? Salakia. So for Esau is the end of the world. Now, does that mean that the world is going to vanish? All right. Does that mean that the planet Earth is going to vanish? Right? No, that means that their kingdom is going to end. Right? Their world is going to end. Their government is going to end. Their authority, their power, their control is going to end. Right? And Esau is Salaki, read that again.
For Esau is the end of the world.
That's the gospel. That's a part of the gospel, man. Esau being the end of the world. Right? Esau will have his last day, man. Right? He knoweth that he has but a short time. All right, let me actually get that. He knoweth but he has a short time. I think that's in the Revelation. Right? The book of Revelations, chapter
12 and 12.
Khan. Baba Gashad.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 12.
Khan.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them.
Mm-hmm.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
Right.
For the devil is come down unto you.
Right.
Having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Right. He knoweth that he has but a short time. He sees his fall ending. Right. He's going to have an economic fall, political fall, a social fall. Right. A spiritual fall. He has but a short time. Right. Khan, beautiful precept. Can you read you can read that 2nd Ezra 6 and 9 again, please, Baba Kushah?
Khan, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9.
Right.
For Esau is the end of the world.
Uh-huh.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? Jacob is the true beginning, man. right? Jacob's going to be the beginning of righteous leadership, authority, right? A government based off of the laws of that's found in Torah, right? That's the beginning of Jacob. We're going to start to see Jacob round rise. That's what we see in now Kanye. That's what we see in now Kyrie. We've had different artists and things. They talk about these things about, that, oh yeah, we descend from Abraham, that we descend from Moses and things like that. But at this point in time, the Most High is really using our brothers and sisters as a vessel to wake up our people, that we are God's chosen people. Because maybe if you try to tell your homeboy that you were an Israelite, he probably not gonna hear you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let Plies say it, right? Let Lil Boosie say it. You know, maybe he has to come from someone else, you see, that has that influence. But the Most High is using our people that are in high authority and that has high influence to teach these things, man.
Con,
Right?
I had a precept real fast. James chapter 1, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
1 second, I'll get it.
Con, I got it. I'll read it.
Okay,
Con, this book of James, chapter 1, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
But let patience.
But let what?
But let patience
Mm-hmm.
have her perfect work.
So you see that, the society that we live in, they call it a microwave society. When you put something in the microwave, that thing heat up in about 30 seconds. Bing! Got it.
Right.
Right? So, we're reading these things. Esau is the end of the world, right? And Esau is in rulership, so we know he's the end of the world. But we're thinking this thing gonna come tomorrow, or it's gonna come the next day, right? We lost the art of patience, right? As a people, our patience is very thin. And of course, with all the technology and the Instagram and stuff, it makes it even more thin, right? So as the children of Israel, we just got to make sure we stay strong and endure and keep the commandments so that this prophecy may come to pass. Because prophecy is only going to come to pass when the elect is sealed, and the elect is going to see the people keeping the commandments, and they're going to keep the commandments too as well. And that requires patience, right? We don't have to form no militia. We don't got to storm the White House. We don't have to hang nobody. We just have to have patience and keep the Most High's commandments and the faith of Yahweh Shai coming back to save us. Just a little side note.
Con, let me get the book of Revelation chapter 3, verse 15. Right? Because in these last days, man, we got to be on fire for the Most High, man. We got to be in the spirit. We got to be studying, ready to give an answer to our people, right? Ready to wake up Jacob because they're going to need it, right? We're going into a disobedient people, right? To a rebellious house. We have to make sure that we are ready to teach our people, man. This is the perfect time. This is high time, right? To wake out of sleep, right? We cannot be lukewarm in these last days, man. Right? We have to, okay, am I doing the work of the Most High? Am I putting the work as an evangelist? Right? Am I putting forth the effort? Am I abounding more and more in the knowledge of the Most High? Right? This is where we have to be on fire for the Most High, not lukewarm. Right? Go ahead and read that, King. Revelation 3:15.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot.
Right? You can't, right? So the most Yahweh Shai is saying, right? He knows our works. He examines our works. He sees the things that we're doing, right? He knows our works. You neither cold nor hot, right? You may know you in this like
right. I say even when you're drinking coffee, you don't ever get lukewarm coffee, right? You're either gonna get it ice cold or you're gonna get it very hot, right? No one likes the in the middle coffee, right? Exactly. I've never seen that order before.
It's like the microwaves be lying. Microwaves is that's not really good for your health, but like he was bringing out some microwave society. But you ever it's like when you throw a hot pocket, right? A hot pocket in the microwave screaming, food is done, right? Next you bought in that hot pocket, you got some cold bits, you got some freezing bits, right? The outside is kind of warm, but then when you bite into it, it's like damn, it didn't even cook the inside, right? So these things happen, man. We can't have that type of spirit, right? Where we're lukewarm, where we're quenching the spirit, right? So read that again, King.
I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot,
right,
I will spew thee out of my mouth.
Right. The Most High said he's going to spit us out of his mouth. We have to be on fire for the Most High. Right. The scriptures talk about how there was brothers that was addicted to the ministry, right? To the ministry of the saints. We have to have that spirit. We have to ask the Most High to allow us to have that spirit to be on fire for the Most High, right? You can't be willingly missing your Shabbat service, right? You can't be willingly not showing up to the new moons or the high holy days. You can't just be willingly doing it, right? You have to ask yourself, am I really on fire for the Most High, right? These things we have to check ourselves with, right? Let me get the book of Colossians chapter 1 verse 10, Babu Bishah. Right, the book of Colossians chapter 1 verse 10.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 1 and verse 10.
Right.
That ye might walk worthy of the Most High unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of the Most High.
And that's right. That's the spirit that we have to want to increase in the knowledge of the Most High, increase in the knowledge of who we are, learning more things, going into the history, the language, the manuscripts, right? The archaeology, the history. These things we have to continue to increase in the knowledge of the Most High as the children of Israel. The oracles was committed unto us, right? That we have the advantage. The Most High blessed us with the Spirit. The Most High blessed our nation for prophets. He raised up our nations for prophets, right? So it's in our spirit to be able to receive the wisdom, to gain the wisdom, attain the wisdom, and to be able to give that out to our people, to feed the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right, one last scripture before we jump into the video. 1 Corinthians 5 and 19, right? I mean, so like it, 1 Thessalonians 5 and 19, right? The book of 1 Thessalonians 5 and 19.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and 19.
Right.
Quench not the spirit.
Do what?
Quench not the spirit.
Right. We cannot quench the spirit. You go days without studying, days without reading, days without praying, days without months without fasting. These things quench the spirit. We have to stay on fire for the Most High. The last thing you want is to quench the spirit. Right. And if you go through that, and if you're going through that spirit where you feel as if you quenching the spirit, the scriptures say, for as your mind to go astray, you have to seek him 10 times more. We know 10 is completion, right? But you have to go harder than you did before. Some weeks you may be strong, some weeks you may be weak. We understand this is the condition of the battle, but we have to make sure we are going as hard to the Most High as possible, man. All right, Khan, go ahead, King.
Khan, can I get the first Maccabees 2 and 50?
Khan, I got you, Khan. Khan, this is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 50. Now, therefore, my sons,
All right.
be ye zealous for the law.
So when you look at the word zealous, right? When you talk about that word, that means having a strong passion or showing enthusiasm, right? It says be zealous, right? Read on.
Khan, be ye zealous for the law.
For the law of God, the commandments of God, you have to be zealous, right? You have to have that strong desire, right? Like, we always talk about, asking the Most High to remove not the Holy Spirit, right? Because we don't want that fire, we don't want that candlestick to put out. But you got to make sure that we giving it oil. You got to make sure it's giving the things that it needs. Quench not the spirit. When you talk about having a fire, it needs oxygen, right? It needs elements to actually, stay lit. So when we talk about being zealous, you always got to have a strong passion or that strong enthusiasm for the law. Keep reading.
Come and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
Right, and they talk about how deeper does it get than that?
Right.
To say to give your lives for the covenant of our fathers. Give your lives for the agreement, the contract that was established with our fathers, right? That goes to show you how serious this is, all right? We can't be complacent in this truth. We got to make sure we doing this thing with the fire. We got to be on fire at all times for the Most High. What kind? I yield.
Khan, I got a quick precept too. Psalms chapter 51, verse 11. 1 second, I'll try to get it.
Khan, I got it.
Okay, Khan, the what?
This book of Psalms, chapter 51, verse 11. Mm-hmm. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me.
This is David saying that. As mighty as a man that he was, the apple of the Most High's eyes, he still showed that humility and said, "Take not your Holy Spirit away from me." Right? So we got to ask the Most High at all times to just keep that fire burning for us and don't take away that spirit from us. You know, because without this truth, man, I don't know where I would be or what I would be doing.
Con.
Right? So we need the Most High at the end of the day, you know. So just make sure you always asking the Most High to build you up in the spirit. Don't take that spirit away from you, and make sure that you stay on fire.
Con, I'll praise to the Most High. Con, so we got a 57, about a 54-second clip of this. We're going to go into a couple of different portions of this interview with this man Alex Jones. Just to give you some background, he's like a conspiracy theorist on a show called InfoWars. He's actually was going through a legal battle because he came out and said that the Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax, and now the man's paying for it, literally. Right? If I'm not mistaken, it's just said that he recently filed for bankruptcy because the lawsuits and the charges that was filed against him was over like $1 billion. Right? So but he had Kanye on the platform. We're gonna kind of just go into a couple portions of what he stated. Right? So give me 1 second. 1 second.
What about Holly Select?
That's right, exactly. So
Well, I mean, people should read that for themselves. What about Holly Selassie? Because this is what happened to Kyrie Irving, and it made me really mad because when I was a kid growing up reading comic books and stuff, I could read really early. When I was like 5, I could read like a 10-year-old. When I was 10, I could read like a college student. And so I put down comic books when I was about 8 because my mom had all these history books, and some of them were picture history books. And I started reading those. And it's like a fact that Solomon married a bunch of black women. It's a fact that Ethiopia was Jewish. It's a fact that North Africa was Jewish. It's a fact that went on. And then Kyrie Irving puts out a video explaining that a bunch of North African blacks are intermarried and part Jewish, and Israel lets a bunch of blacks in because they can prove that their lineage, their names are Jewish names. So how is it anti-Semitic? And how does the ADL say it's anti-Semitic for black people who are related directly to King Solomon and King David, the line of Judah, which Haile Selassie was the leader of Ethiopia? That's where this whole movement comes from. To act like they don't know this, I'm not blaming Jews for this. I'm blaming the leftist ADL. To deny black Jews their heritage is a historic fraud. It's a damn historic fact. It's on Wikipedia. It's not even debated.
it's true, but it's not just the leftists, it's the right-wing ones too, because in Israel, Ye was just showing me a clip the other day where they are racist towards the Sudanese or Ethiopian black Jews that immigrate into Israel. They kick them out. There's quotas.
Well, I mean, Israel's even mean to the Hasidic Jews now. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're waging war.
Right. So, and I agree with you. And what they've done to Kyrie Irving is just disgusting.
Con, I wanted to play this part back 1 second. Slow.
I was like 5, I could read like a 10-year-old. When I was 10, I could read like a college student. And so I put down comic books when I was about 8 because my mom had all these history books, and some of them were picture history books. And I started reading those. And it's like a fact that Solomon married a bunch of black women. It's a fact that Ethiopia was Jewish. It's a fact that North Africa was Jewish. It's a fact that went on. And then Kyrie Irving puts out a video explaining that a bunch of North African blacks are intermarried and part Jewish, and Israel lets a bunch of blacks in because they can prove that their lineage, their names are Jewish names. So how is it anti-Semitic? And how does the ADL say it's anti-Semitic for black people who are related directly to King Solomon and King David, the line of Judah, which Haile Selassie was the leader of Ethiopia? That's where this whole movement comes from. To act like they don't know this, I'm not blaming Jews for this. I'm blaming the leftist ADL. To deny black Jews their heritage is
Con, right? So pretty much what the man is saying is like, yo, it's not a foreign concept that there are quote unquote, he's saying black and North African things like that, right? But that the so-called black man in America can trace his lineage back to David, right? He can trace his lineage back to Abraham, right? To Solomon and things like that, right? That's not a foreign concept. But as soon as we say that, it's we're anti-Semitic. How can we be anti-Semitic when we descend from Shem, right? What he's pretty much saying, right? So you see, this truth is really going out there, man, right? It's like how is that crazy to say that we're the real Jews when we have brothers and sisters scattered abroad that can trace their lineage back to King Solomon, right? We see this. These are the things that they're trying to say it's just a theory. It's just crazy, right? But there's established documents that already prove that we descend from these people, right? That we descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Khan, right? Anybody wanted to comment on that, or
yeah? Can I get Jeremiah 16 and verse 19?
Khan?
Let's bring this out, because what you're seeing before your eyes is a part of prophecy,
Khan.
right? When they're telling, you have people, worldwide telling black people, like, it's a fact that these people are Jews.
Right.
It's a fact that we are God's chosen people. It's a fact that we are Hebrews, right? Jeremiah 16:19. When you get that,
Khan. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The
right.
Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies.
Surely this country has been built on lies. They've been telling us lies, who the children of Israel are. Surely our fathers have inherited lies that have been established by these other nations, by these kingdoms that want to keep the children of Israel hidden. All right, read on.
Khan. Surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
Right. They believe in things that there's no profit. There's no profit of them being the Jews, right? There's no profit of them saying that they have a contract established with the Most High. That's not them. That's us, right? The promises, they pertain to the Israelites. They pertain to God's chosen people, which is the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So what we're looking at is part of prophecy. These people is gonna become more known and more known that we are God's chosen people. Right, but Khan,
All praise to the Most High. Khan, there's a second portion of the video as well I wanted to play. Fair use in the chat, fair use. All right. Khan, let me just play this right quick.
Hitler, you're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called. That's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. The Jew, I love everyone. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
All right, so I'm gonna just play that back right quick.
They were squirming when Kanye said that.
God, let me pull it. I think there's a.
It says the Edomite next to him is a known Holocaust denier. So, man, I don't know, man. I feel like Esau is very crafty. I don't know, something in my spirit just be like, man, Kanye just being handled a certain way, and I don't know, bro. Like sometimes I just be thinking that. I look at all angles,
I would say this, like, with the situation with Kyrie and Ye, you know what I'm saying? Like, these brothers really need to bring some skilled scholars with them when they go onto these platforms, because even with, I was looking at a show, not to go off on a tangent, but even with Godfrey, there was him going back and forth with some Jewish man, and I felt like he really couldn't get the resources and the proof that he needed to establish what he was trying to say. We know because we can prove it, but they really need to start bringing or learning from people that are really skilled in this truth, because when they go on these platforms, the world is watching, and it takes one time for you to be confounded for them to say you don't got the truth. You know what I'm saying? So I pray these brothers reach out to somebody soon and get somebody alongside them when they go onto these platforms.
So I wanted to play back this point. So
that's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. The Jew, I love everyone.
Isn't that the Christian doctrine though, right? God loves everybody. Right? God loves everybody until it gets to Hitler, right? God loves everybody, right? Isn't that what Christians teach though? right? For God so loved the world, right? That's not the mentality that he's supposed to have, right? That he's supposed to love everybody, see the good in everybody, right? Is that not the Christian doctrine?
Con.
Right? But they're looking at him like he's crazy for saying that. If they're looking at him for that, he's crazy for saying that. Look at the Christians that teach that entire doctrine.
All right, it's like God. So
Right?
God loved everybody but Hitler. Okay,
Right. Con.
they picking and
Right.
choosing who God can love.
Con. Right? And they're looking at the man like he's crazy, but he's telling you what the Christian church teaches, man. Right? We have to have some selective love for everybody, but when it comes to certain people, we don't. Right? And that's the hypocrisy of Christianity, man. Right? Asher, you want to say anything on that? All right. So Kanye, after that they pretty much took him off of Twitter as well. He was on Twitter. He was saying a couple different things on Twitter. Nothing too crazy, but he was on Twitter that they took him out of there, right? I don't know if they suspended his account, if they banned his account, if it's just temporary. But pretty much he's I don't think they're going to give him his account back, But definitely this is something that we definitely gotta, just continue to watch on, because a lot of people want to take that man out, right? But he's bringing the truth to the light, man, right? And a lot of people hate that, right? So, all praise to the Most High. Continue to keep that brother in your prayers, right? Because this is something that we see that's going to continue to, evolve, right? So we're going to jump into another topic, going into this whole Jerry Jones situation. Now, if you know who Jerry Jones is an NFL owner. Now, they just found this photo, which I'm going to bring up, right? Let me pull this up right here, right? They found this photo of Jerry Jones, and let's just read it, right? It says, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was one of the bullies trying to stop black classmates from desegregating, right, at a high school, right, in 1957. I want to look very closely at this photo, right? I want everybody to look very closely at this photo right here, man. Right, this is the NFL owner today, right? But look around, man. Right? Right? Look at this man right here, man. Right? These people had children. These people have fathers. Right? They have descendants.
Honestly, this is honestly crazy, bro, because whoever found this picture, bro, this is all the Most High. How do you look at this picture, go and see this man's face, and then say that's Jerry Jones? That is insane. That's the Most High.
Right.
There's no way, no other way. No other way. When I look at photos, I don't look for where's Waldo when I look at photos. You know what I'm saying? When I seen this photo, I was like, "Damn, how did somebody find this?" I was scratching my head.
The internet will expose you out. You got some crazy people out here that just sit in their rooms looking for things to expose. The fact that this is being revealed, like you said, it is of the Most High. And to think, when we look at this, they say, well, this was a long time ago. This was a long time ago. But you got to think, this man is still alive. You don't think he's passed on the things he's learned to his children, and his children has passed on the things they learned from their father? It's ridiculous to think not.
They said this is in 1957, right?
That's crazy.
So 1957, right, minus 2022 is 65 years ago. That's a long time.
Bro, Jerry Jones, when he seen that this came out, he must have like turned red in the face. Just like, oh, Actually, let me get Nahum 3 and 5 real fast, King.
God. This is the book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 5. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Most High of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face.
Come on, this photo was discovered, showing the nakedness of Esau, man. Right, this man is a whole football team owner, and you know the NFL is the
75% Jake.
Yep, and it's the modern day Coliseum, Roman Coliseum. Right, we know that, right? So we seeing right now that the Most High is discovering the nakedness of Esau, man. You can finish the precept.
And I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame.
And this Jerry Jones is definitely ashamed of this right here, right? And maybe he's not. Look, that's right. I did it, right? You probably behind closed doors feeling like that, but on that. But he gonna tell everybody, blah. I remember the excuse that he said it was, but I forgot how it was explained. I think he was saying like he was just there to see what was going on,
to
or
see
something
what was
like
going
that.
on. You telling me? Come on, let's be real. You telling me out of all them crackers, nobody sat there and explained what was actually happening? You telling me he didn't know what was going on? You telling me he kind of was just there being neutral?
And this is a gathering. It looked like it's at the front door. So they had to actually plan this to actually go there and everybody set up. So there's no way you just came there to see what was going on.
Hey, Khan. Also, this is a prime example for this is something our people should look at, right? Notice how whenever Kanye or brother Kyrie, they speak out with the things that they said, how our people came out. A lot of our people spoke against it and came out, but how many of Jerry Jones people actually came out and said anything about this photo? I haven't heard anybody say anything about it yet.
Right.
Any of his people. But our people are quick to turn their back on each other, man. Like, this is something that we really need to pay attention to, though.
I got a scripture. Can somebody give me Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 32?
I got you.
And this is why it's important, because a lot of people forget about stuff like this, right? You rarely have, people trying to fight you because you're trying to go into a school nowadays. But listen to what the scripture says, all right? Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 32. See what that say. We got to remember these things, man. You can't think that all of these horrible and treacherous things happen to us, and they're just gonna sweep it under the rug. Like everybody forgot about that. Y'all forgot about the times y'all kept us from actually succeeding in life, which affects generations down the line. The things that they stopped us from doing, 100 years ago, still affects our households till this day. But now, since everybody has equal rights, right? They forgot about those things after they already took advantage of us. But give me Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 32 out. Con, you got it out? You there?
Con, I'll get it.
Can you hear me?
Con, I hear you.
Oh, okay. It's a lot. It was muted. Okay. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 10, verse 32. But call to remembrance the former days.
Right.
In which, after you were illuminated, ye endured a great fight of afflictions.
After we were illuminated, right? We received the light now. Now that we know who we are, right? We're coming out of these curses slowly but surely. It says, remember the former days. Ye endured a great fight of afflictions, right? Read on that, out. Verse 33.
Verse 33. Partly whilst ye were made a gazing stock, both by reproaches and afflictions.
It's so much so people would just gaze upon us and say, dang, these people going through it. By what? Reproaches and afflictions. Read on.
And partly whilst ye became companions of them that were so used.
And who are the ones that were so used? Right? You look at the other nations, they were used to give us what? Our afflictions, our reproaches. Right? We became friends to them that gave us our afflictions. Right? Keep reading.
For ye had compassion of me in my bonds, and took joyfully the spoiling of your goods.
Right.
knowing in yourselves that ye have in heaven a better and an enduring substance.
Right. So the first part of that scripture, it says, "For ye had compassion in me by my bond in me, Salah. For ye had compassions of me in my bonds, and took joyfully the spoiling of your goods." Meaning what? That's when we remembered the Most High. In our afflictions, we remember the Most High. After all of these things continue to happen to us, right? Now we start to remember, oh, it gotta be something. There's a reason why these things keep happening, right? We know that it has to be done through the Most High. Jump down to verse 36.
Verse 36.
Mhm.
For ye have need of patience,
Right?
that after ye have done the will of the Most High,
hmm
ye might receive the promise.
So all of these things, what we're looking at in this photo, right? All of these things happen to us because we are supposed to be fulfilling the will of God. And what is the will of God? To keep the commandments. All of these things are connected to each other, right? But, going back to that first part of the scripture, verse 32, it says, "Call to remembrance the former days." We got to remind people of these things, right? Especially our young kids, because from what I understand, they're not teaching the horrible things that happened to us back in the 60s,
Right.
the 50s, right? The 1800s, 1700s, the 1600s. They're not teaching these 13 and 14-year-olds what they've done to us.
Con.
You got
All they're
little,
showing.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say all they show in history is the solutions, like the civil
Right,
rights movements. They don't
right,
show why they did those things.
exactly. And all of this, this is part of that facade, or that covering of the truth, covering the children of Israel, right? Because now you got little Ray Ray, who's 13 years old. He looking at his brother like he's the enemy. When your brother ain't do nothing to you, it's the other people that has enslaved you, who've raped, robbed, and murdered you, right? They are the number one reason why you suffer in your own household. All of these things trickle down.
Con. And we talk gangster towards each other. But I never seen a song that came out talking gangster towards crackers.
Bring that out. Bring that.
Right.
Bring that out. And and not to go off on a tangent once again, but when we talk about the dude Charleston White, now we all know this brother cooning out here. But that's one of the things that he brought up. He said, "Yeah, no,
No.
you ready to turn on your own people? You ready to kill your own brother? Rap about murdering your brother's mother? But these white folks out here, right? They continue to have their foot on your neck. You see it and you turn the other way. So tell me who the real gangster is, right? So we got to think about that. You brought out a powerful point now. We look at each other like we the enemy. We quick to ride on one another. But that same energy, you won't turn that energy on the people who have done this to our ancestors, our foremothers, our forefathers. Like the brother that pulled up on us at camp. He said, "I got 100 shots for all of you brothers." When we telling him he's a king and a god. We telling him how to raise his family, how to be patient, how to be loving. But he got 100 shots. All of this stuff is connected. With that, I yield out.
Con, I got a precept. This is the book of Amos, chapter 1, verse 11. Thus saith the Most High, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. Right? That's the spirit of these people today, man. Right? That wrath is kept forever. You telling me he just forgot about it? He didn't remember it? That's not in his spirit anymore, right? He was just the only good Edomite in the bunch. Look at the people around him, man. This is that perpetual hatred, right? That these people that these nations have, right? But we're all one in Christ now, right? Right? Neither Jew nor Greek now, right? Imagine he looked in his face and said, "Yeah, neither Jew nor Greek." Right? Where was neither Jew nor Greek when he's trying to enter into the school?
Right.
Right? Where was neither Jew nor Greek when they were separating the water fountains? Where was neither Jew nor Greek when there was taking people out of pools, out of bathrooms, out of restaurants? Where was neither Jew nor Greek there? Right? But that's the doctrine. That's the Christianity. That's the doctrine of Christianity, man. Right? Let me get the classic, the book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse 13. Right? The wicked estranged from the womb. Right? It's like it's Psalms 58 and 3. Right?
Con.
This is in their spirit. The spirit that is lifted up is not upright in them. Right? Psalms 58 and 3, Baba Bashar.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb.
Mm-hmm.
They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
They speak lies as soon as they be born. Oh, I was just 13 at the time. It's as soon as you're born, brother. It's as soon as you're born that spirit is on you, man. Give me the book of Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. Or Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. Right? As soon as I was 13. That was 65 years ago. Right? It was in their spirit from the day that they were born, man. Right? Let me get the Habakkuk 2 and 4.
It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4.
Right?
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is
Uh-huh.
not upright in him.
It's not upright in him. Right? It's not a matter of age. It's the soul that has been lifted up. It's the spirit that's in that man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Most High said you cannot make straight what the Most High created crooked. You can't change that. It's always been in your spirit. Right? Let me get the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 13. Right? The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 13. This is the work of the Most High. The most like we brought out. This is the Most High exposing the nations, right? Lifting up the skirt of the nations, right? That had that perpetual hatred. We got to bring that out next. Right? Let me get the book of Ecclesiastes 7 and 13, Baba Shah.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 13.
Right?
Consider the work of the Most High.
So this is the work of the Most High, right? Consider the work of the Most High. Acknowledge the work of the Most High. Keep going.
For who can make that straight, which he made crooked?
Right? Which he made crooked, right? The scripture says, consider the work of the Most High. Right? For who can make that straight which he has made crooked? The Most High gave us this understanding already, man, that we have a natural enemy in the earth. Right? There's a natural enemy in the earth, and our people do not want to recognize it. They've had that perpetual hatred. Right? Let me get the book of Ezekiel 30. So can you have something?
Oh no, I just had a precept whenever you're ready.
Con. What you con?
No,
let me pull this one.
Ezekiel?
Ezekiel 35 and 5. You can pull that. Right? These people, their soul that is lifted up is not upright in them. Right? As soon as they be born, they had this perpetual hatred unto the children of Israel. You telling me you look at this man right here? Look at this dude right here. Right? Look at this, man. Probably blowing smoke in his face. Right? So if this is 65 years ago, you're telling me these people are not here today? Right? What about everybody else in the photo? Right? They point out Jerry Jones. He's saying he's neutral. But what about everybody else in the photo? Don't they have families? Don't they have descendants? Don't they have relatives? Didn't they have a father and mother? Right? You think this spirit was just something that just think about it. You think they're ashamed to move like this? Right? As if this is not what's being talked about behind closed doors in their own homes.
It's a lot. And you can even see on the near the dude that's smoking his cigarette how happy that Edomite is to be stopping them from entering into the school. And I took the time to look up on the New York Post the comment that Jerry Jones was said to the reporter, and this what he said after he was confronted with the picture. He said that was gosh 65 years ago. I didn't know at the time the monumental event that was going on. Jones told reporters after the Cowboys beat the Giants. I'm sure glad that we're a long way from that. I am. That would remind me just continue to do everything we can to not have those kind of things happen. So with me pulling this out, it just letting me it just showing it just telling me that the swords are still being drawn on Israel no matter what. That he was able to sit up there and just say his viable excuse was that was a long time ago. But they could pull a 90-year-old Nazi soldier from his home, bring him into Israel and charge him for the murders that was done almost 55 years ago. But but nobody wants to pull up charges upon this man for even being there, for even participating. Even if you didn't know what it was, you still participated in the act. Can I get Psalms 55 and 21 real quick, please, Baba Kusha?
Khan, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 21.
Khan.
Khan. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
What he was saying was
But
smoother
war
than
was in
butter.
his heart.
Hold on, read it again, Slop.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Khan.
But war was in his heart.
But war was in his heart, and you could see that he was there to be contentious. You could see the battle like literally in front of your face with this picture. Why was he there? If it didn't concern, if he didn't really want to be a part of it, why was he standing there with the rest of them? Because that's how he felt. He felt like those black kids shouldn't have walked into that school. And with that, I yield.
Khan. Did you still want that Ezekiel, Karim?
Khan, did I bring it out or no? Did I bring it
No.
out? Okay, Khan, let me get the book of Ezekiel.
Ezekiel 35.
Khan, the water. Khan.
35 verse 5.
Khan, Baba Kusha.
Khan, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, verse 5.
Right?
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
This is a perpetual
and hast
hatred.
Shed the blood of.
Right? This is the perpetual hatred. Right? From 65 years ago. This is a perpetual hate. Look at it. Look at this man's face. That's not a perpetual hatred. Come on, man. We gotta wake up. Right? This picture's in black and white, but we can show a picture that's colored that's the same thing. These are the same people. I don't get it. It's 65 years ago, but you're still on Earth. Therefore, the people that was doing this still exist. So what does it mean that it's 65 years ago when the people that's in this photo still are here today? What does that change? They're going to have descendants. Nobody else in the photo. You telling me nobody else in the photo recognize himself? Right? I'm glad I'm not a famous NFL owner because I don't got to speak up for none of that. Where's Buddy with the cigarette at, man?
Hey, Con.
Right?
Hey, Cap. Speaking of the photo, right? You know how whenever one of our people commit a crime, how Esau like to they don't commit a crime, like whenever a police officer, someone kills one of our brothers, they'll go and find an old photo of them doing something wicked.
Right.
Good. Right?
Good.
Does look bad, but I mean, Esau is very critical.
Con.
And Salat. Here's I got more on what he was saying. I went further down to get some more information about the whole situation, and he made also another comment. Now this definitely lets me know he was on that type of time, because he said nobody there had any idea, frankly, what was going to take place. We all know that's a lie. Jones said, "I've got a habit of sticking this nose in the right place at the wrong time." So basically what he was saying is, I was in the right place, but I got caught up being there at the wrong specific time of them catching that picture. That's what he was basically saying. I was in the right place. Yes, they were doing. Yes, they were stopping. We were stopping Jake from entering this place, which was the right place to be at. But I got there at the wrong time because they took that picture of me. Now they got evidence of me being a racist, me being a destroyer of, me being a sword against Israel. Man, our people gotta wake up. And then the thing is, you have players that are playing for this man, that are under his brand. This is very profound, man. This is, our people need to wake up, like wake up out of deep sleep and really smell the coffee, man.
Captain Kyrie, can I get Jeremiah 13 and 23 in the GNT?
Con. This book of Jeremiah, chapter 13, verse 23 in the GNT. Can people change the color of their skin?
What? Can people change the color of their skin, man?
Right.
Can you actually change the color of a person's skin?
Right.
Reed?
Or there's or a leopard remove its spots?
Or a leopard remove its spot, man. Right? That's basically going into saying, can you change the spirit of a person? Right. The Most High, just like the captain was bringing up earlier, the Most High made their spirit that way. If the Most High made an enemy for us, right? How can we change that into being the protagonist now? He's not the antagonist anymore. He's the protagonist now. He's our friend. How can we go into changing that if the Most High made it that way? Like how? Right? Go ahead.
If they could, then you that do nothing but evil could learn to do what is right.
And if they could, then you that do nothing but evil could learn to do what is right, man. Right? And that's it.
Con, I wanted to pull up another video. It's actually LeBron actually spoke about this situation as well. He had a take on it, and we could just kind of watch in on how to, how he kind of presented the situation. All right, Con.
I was thinking when I was on my way over here, I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question from you guys about the Jerry Jones fight. But when the Kyrie thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask us questions about that. Okay. Hold on. And I don't even want you guys to say nothing. When I watched Kyrie talk and he says, I know who I am, but I want to keep the same energy. We're talking about my people and the things that we've been through. And that Jerry Jones photo is one of those moments that our people, Black people, have been through in America. And I feel like as a Black man, as a Black athlete, as someone with power and a platform, when we do something wrong or something that people don't agree with, it's on every single tabloid, every single news coverage. It's on the bottom ticker. It's asked about every single day. But it seems like to me that the whole Jerry Jones situation photo, and I know it was years and years ago and we all make mistakes, I get it. It seemed like it's just been buried under like, oh, it happened. Okay, we just move on. And I was just kind of disappointed that I haven't received that question from you guys. Appreciate it.
Con, right? All praises. So his brother sees it's like, it's an outrage when Kyrie is speaking, right? It's an outrage when Kanye is speaking, right? Where's the apology from Jerry Jones? Where's the donation, right, that he has to make? Where's the donations that he's making, right? Where's this? What they call it? They said that Kyrie had to do some sensitivity training, right? And then they said that he had to meet with some Jewish leaders to talk about what he said. How come Jerry Jones is not scheduled to meet with black leaders of the community? Right? Where is he? Why is he not given these same list of requirements to receive forgiveness from the public that our people have to go through? Right? It's just the hypocrisy, man. All right, so I'll praise this, man. One last video. I want to go into this video of Stephen Agent Smith, right? And he spoke on the situation as well. All right, praise in the chat.
Agent Smith.
Just as a reminder to me of how to improve and do things the right way.
Okay. A little context here. The Cowboys are one of 7 teams not to have had a black head coach and have had 2 black coordinators since Jones has owned the team, but their highest football executive vice president of player personnel, Will McClay, is black. Jones has complied with the Rooney Rule in which teams have to interview minority candidates. Jones said his decisions are made for business reasons, not race. Stephen A., your reaction to all of this?
I'm pretty pissed off. And let me say this. I'm pissed off, but not for reasons that people would think. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones, and I'm not hiding that from anybody. Is his record perfect? No. But I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened. He doesn't deserve it. One report I read said he was 14 years old.
Coffee is out and Shrew.
Hey, Coon's been around since the beginning of time.
Bring it out,
That's my statement.
Right. Bring it out.
There's always been a coon among our people.
Come on, man.
From slavery, before slavery, after slavery, before we get up out of this kingdom, there's always going to be a coon amongst our people.
Right.
Right. And the coons were.
If the cameraman was a Jake, bro, he should have went behind that man and stole off on that man, bro, or something, bro, because that was crazy, bro.
Wow. I believe coons are even worse than the Edomites, man. Because they're willing to do anything. They're willing to please anybody.
Said he was 15 years old. At minimum, that's 65 years ago. You're going to bring up a picture of Jerry Jones standing at this protest. No question what was happening is not something that anybody as a black person should be appreciative about. We had 6 students at that particular North Little Rock High School that was trying to desegregate the school.
No one should be okay with it.
Nobody should be okay with that.
Regardless of
We
race.
understand that. We get all of that. We also understand what we as black people and as black folks, black men have to deal with. And by the way, to some degree, we still deal with a lot of things, and we all know it. Racism is alive and well. Bigotry and prejudice is alive and well. We get all of that. What I'm saying,
coonery is alive and well.
Right, bring that up.
Coonery is alive and well.
Bro, and it's like, it's just crazy how they just kind of just dust it off like it's whatever, bro. And then with Kyrie and stuff, it's like a big deal.
Like
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
This stuff.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we got to think about the guys in the picture, right? You don't think the brothers, if they're still living up until today, you don't think those brothers will still be traumatized from something like that happening? Right? Imagine being swarmed by your enemy. You got 50 people. It's just 2 of you. You got 50 of your enemies around. You don't think that causes PTSD? Right? You don't think they have flashbacks of that? Right? Because I've been in situations in the world. I still have flashbacks of those, and it wasn't that serious. So I could just imagine what those brothers was going through. They being swarmed by their enemies. They gotta look them in their face. They gotta stand tall and be a man. Knowing that the whole world is.
And Little Rock has a.
All right, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I used to live in Little Rock when I was in the, in Esau's army. The Air Force. I was in the Air Force for a certain amount of time. I lived in Little Rock. I cut out? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you now. You
cut out.
cut off.
That,
Repeat what you were saying.
no, I said that I used to live in Little Rock for 5.
You might have to repeat that again. I keep cutting out.
Can you guys hear me, Salak?
I can hear you now.
Okay,
It keeps cutting out.
I said I used to live in Little Rock for 5 years. Dang. I was saying I used to live in Little Rock for 5 years, and that place has deep racism embedded into it, man. And you know, it's just crazy that, like, dang, this cutout just made me lose my train of thought.
I can hear you
All
clear
right,
now, though.
It's all good. It's all good.
Right. I just want. This is crazy, man. I'm gonna keep going in this video, man.
Here's the part that.
But that's a powerful point. So we just dismiss it because it's 14. It was 65 years ago, or there was 14 at the time. These people still had that same trauma, and those people on the other end had the same spirit. You think that spirit just leaves them?
Right.
How come nobody? You think everybody else in the photo was just like, oh, that was just me at 14. I don't believe that now. You telling me to do with the cigarette in his mouth, right? He's just, that was really me when I was 14. You're awake, man. That type of behavior doesn't just happen overnight. That happens in the household. Now you have families and relatives and descendants and brothers and sisters that have that same spirit that you have. Come on, bro. Stop being ignorant. Stop thinking time changes a person's spirit. Time can't change the person's spirit. That's permanent. You cannot change. You cannot make straight what the Most High made crooked.
Bothers me. You want to get on Jerry Jones and his track record?
Have you ever seen
in
those
2003 or so? You know what?
Go ahead.
I was saying, have you ever seen those videos with those, those elderly men talking about slavery and stuff like that, and they crying and all those different things, you know what I'm saying? And for him to just speak like all of that stuff is just all good. It was so long ago. It's just, that hurts, bro. Like that our people think like that. And this is like a so-called leader of our community, because they make the entertainers the leader of our communities, man, and have make them the voice of our community. And it's just like, dang, bro, I'm just lost for words, man.
What you should have hired, Dennis Green shouldn't have got an interview on the phone. It should have been an in-person interview.
Right.
You should have followed the letter of the rule of the law as it pertained to the Rooney Rule. He wanted Bill Parcells, universally recognized one of the greatest football coaches we've ever seen. It was clear he wanted Bill Parcells. Nobody else was going to have a chance of getting that job. That's what he wants to do. You want to malign him for that? Fine. You want to point out that he's one of 7 black NFL owners that's never hired an African-American as a head coach? Fine. Do all of that. Attack him for that. Go ahead. Yeah. No problem. I see a plethora of African-Americans employed by him. I see black players who played for him who rave about this man and what he's done for them on a personal.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. He's like, wait, y'all gonna really be mad at Jerry Jones? He gave y'all niggas jobs. He gives y'all a paycheck. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. You know what's crazy?
Same like on the plantation, bro.
Right. Oh, yeah. They gave you work. Massa gave you work, ain't it? Massa got you that house you got, right? Massa got you that car you got, right? You want to talk about Massa?
Massa give you food. Massa give you water.
Right.
Massa give you a little hay so you can lay on when your back is hurting. Massa do good for us.
Right.
Where we gonna go if Massa's not here?
Right. It's so funny, man. It's like they feel as if since they quote unquote that's them doing something for the so-called Israelite man, then that's you can't really talk bad about them, right? It reminds me of the first time we went out to camp in Fort Myers at that location, and the dude came up, and his whole issue was he was so appalled because he was saying, man, I put black children on scholarships, and it's like he wanted a reward for that, right? Yeah, man, you know what I do? I do that for the black children. What does that mean, right? Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is trying to get a check from him that's gonna benefit you, man. You know the game. Massa paid for your food, ain't it?
Personal level, but if you want to go by his hiring record when it comes to head coaches, no problem. Can't go the executive route because we know it's him. You know what I'm saying? He want to be the president, the
Right.
GM, the owner. He want to do everything. And then he's got his children that he leans on as well. So he can't go the executive route. But you want to get on him about the head coaches, fine. But you're going to bring up a photo of him when he was 14, 15 years old, 65 or 66 years ago. This is where cancer culture gets into the mix. And you're making an attempt to eradicate him, what he stands for, and all he has done. I will remind you, we've had Senator Robert Byrd, who passed away a few years ago. That was a member of the KKK. We've had other politicians, you know, whose record, who didn't want the segregate, who didn't want desegregation. Right. The George Wallaces of the world, the Bull Connors of the world, and others, okay? We've seen all of this. We've had elected officials on Capitol Hill that are implementing and legislating policy that affects our lives. But we're going to go to Jerry Jones. And by the way, I don't have a problem with the photo. I don't have a problem. If he was 30, 35, 40 years old, that's different. Right. 14.
I don't have a problem with the photo. See, so I don't get it. So he was 14. He was not in his right mind to understand the concept of segregation. Is that what you're saying? He just was so young that he didn't understand that there was a white man stopping a black man from entering a school. And he just didn't understand that concept, even though he was there. If he was just trying to figure it out. Come on, man.
Con, sometimes I think to myself, is this real life?
This is crazy, man. This is crazy. He's saying, well, let me read it.
15 years old. By the way, I don't have a problem with the photo. I don't have a problem. If he was 30,
you mean you don't have a problem with the photo?
30, 35.
What if you didn't even know who the person was? Let's say he didn't even know who Jerry Jones was. You telling me you don't have a problem with that photo? Bro, that's crazy, bro.
And Salah, and you gotta also, here's what's been plaguing my brain since I seen that photo. Now, if that man, Jerry Jones, can be an owner of an NFL team, imagine those other dudes that's around him, how high they are in this society. You gotta take that in consideration. What about those other men that's around him as well? If they got Jerry Jones, imagine those dudes that we don't even know that's in those pictures, how high they are placed in this society today. That's pretty crazy to even think that. But the fact that that Stephen A. Coon Smith can sit there and make an excuse saying that they're 14. That they're 14 years old, they didn't know any better. But if a Jake rob a store right now and he's 14 years old, that Jake will go to jail for 10 years to almost 20 years of his life. But they don't take that into consideration. They don't say, "Oh, he's only 14. He's just a kid. He didn't know any better." This is pure hypocrisy. Pure hypocrisy. Oh, ye hypocrites, man. Cunning, I yield.
40 years old, that's different. Right. 14, 15 years old. 14, 15 years old. Right. So now some folks are going to get to look at Jerry Jones, and who's from Arkansas. This is the South. We understand what the South represented. You understand what I'm saying? Remember, when slavery ended with the Emancipation Proclamation, you talk about 1863 or what have you. What did Dr. Martin Luther King talk about? Well, you didn't give black folks nothing. You ridded slavery from them, but you gave them no land. But you gave white peasants from Europe land in the West and the Midwest, okay? So we understand from an historical perspective where it all comes from, what the South represented at least once upon a time, and in some people's eyes still to this day. But we're going to lean on somebody when he was 14.
If you had a choice, would you rather go through the pain, hassle, sacrifice?
When someone commits a murder at 14 or 15, do they Do they get a pass because of their age?
La.
It ain't happening.
You have 14, 15-year-old Jakes that have been committed of murder and are serving 30, 40 years in prison. Grown man prison, not juvie, then prison. No, federal state penitentiaries at 14. Nobody ever once said, "Oh, this is just a child. This is just a kid. He didn't know any better." No.
Con. And you know, like with all this stuff that happened, you know, around the world, they coined a term called a crime against humanity, right? So aren't these things that happened in Little Rock crimes against humanity? Isn't he a part of that? Or are we just still 3/5 of a man?
Nobody want to talk about that. Nobody want to talk about that. They just want to run. They want to feel good. They still want to feel good in this land. Oh, America done everything for me. They do good. I make good money. Massa feed me. Massa clothe me. Massa give me nice clothes when I need good clothes. Massa pay me when I need to get paid. I do anything for Massa. That's the mentality our people still have.
And we're going to pick it up 66 years later to say, you know something?
Yeah.
You ain't hire a black coach. I think that's pretty low.
That's low? Come on. Hold on. Let me pull this up right quick. It just recently happened with Emmett Till, right? Emmett Till. Witness. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up this article.
I really, really do. I think that part is pretty low. If he were an adult, that would be different.
But this thing is, what's okay? Okay. They have to pick their argument though, right? Because they're saying that he was 14, so we just have to dismiss it because of its age. But if he was an adult and it was 30 and it was 65 years ago, well, he was fully aware of what's going on because he was an adult. Like, what's your argument? Are you saying this because like they got to pick one, right? Because if he was, let's say he was an adult in that photo, but it was 65 years ago. Their whole thing is you shouldn't worry about it because it was 65 years ago, but he's an adult. So which argument are you going to pick? Is it because he's young in the photo? Well, that's not justified. But if he was an adult in the photo, that's not justified. But I thought your whole point is, that's 65 years ago. It shouldn't matter at all. It's like, what are you trying to say, man?
But a 14, 15-year-old kid raised in the South who literally is just standing there looking, and we use that to bring up in the year 2022. Oh, this is where you are. You got to explain this. You ready to explain what you did when you were 14?
Yeah.
How about you?
Right.
I can't. I don't know if I want to. Especially how
I was not at a segregation rally. Right? I probably, had a 5-finger discount at a couple stores, right? But we talking about a segregation rally, man.
Right.
Come on, bro. It's not nobody's bike just got stolen. We talking about a whole segregation rally that he's at. Come on, bro.
See how the world will perceive it today.
Yeah.
And I'm 55.
Yeah.
This man is 80. 66 years ago. Come on, y'all.
Yeah. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and
at 14, I'm satisfied with the answer that he gave. That he was there out of curiosity. Wasn't like that he was there throwing something at the students. He wasn't out there yelling at him. There's no photo. It's a photo of him just being curious, and at how influential a 14-year-old in our time
He
would be
was
a
there
ninth
out
grader
of curiosity.
influenced by 10th graders and people.
I'm curious.
It is a segregation rally.
And the thing is, he said out his own mouth, I have a issue of sticking my nose in the right place at the wrong time.
No, you have an issue of being the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Damn right. Con.
That's right.
So when he said that he was there at the right place, that means he wanted to be there. Listen, if I'm with my homeboy and he murdered somebody, I can't say, if I didn't pull the trigger, I was just with him. I can't say I was just there out of curiosity. Right. That makes no sense.
Con, they'll say you're an accessory.
Exactly. He's an accessory to the crime. He's just sick, man. And it's crazy how they like to use the years as an excuse. Oh, that was 66 years ago. But didn't they charge Bill Cosby for what he's did? And that was like what, 30, 40 years ago? You could charge him for something that happened 30, 40 years ago. He's an old man and y'all put him in the jail. But y'all can't do that. But y'all can't do that to this man for even being there, to being an accessory to seeing all of this happen. Oh, ye hypocrites. Are you?
And people that you look up to about what's going on at your school.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder where the origins of this picture is coming from. And it just pops in my head, maybe Dan Snyder, what he said about opposition and having stuff on people. I wonder, because it's curious that this comes up at this particular time.
Because it's coming out of Washington?
Yeah, and the fact that it's coming up at this time when we know the heat is on the Commanders.
When Daniel Snyder basically said, I got stuff on everybody.
Right, but for me, I can't hold a 14-year-old accountable for his actions, even if he was there yelling and screaming, because how influential you are at that age and following the crowd. But it does make me kind of look at the history of Jerry Jones when you think about he was the only owner that didn't allow his players to take a knee for the cause, right? So you look at it that way, but I don't think this is a smoking gun like, aha, we got you. It's been no records of him, no tapes of him saying derogatory things about the African American community. Right. So for me, this is a nothing burger, and I know that in this cancel culture we want to have outrage, but I can't be outraged about a 14-year-old that's sitting there watching some black kids and maybe he's never had encounters with out of curiosity.
Can I just say one thing? As the only person that's not black, and I didn't know where you guys were going to go. You could have went the total opposite end of the spectrum, and no one would have faulted you. So it's really big of all of you to show so much grace in this situation when you didn't have to.
She said, you guys really could have been outraged about seeing a white man at an event where they're segregating your own people. But you did a complete opposite. You're basically giving him grace for being there because he's 14 years old, even though it could have been different if he was 30, because the mindset probably would have been different. Like, she's basically saying y'all niggas could have really defended, went against them, but y'all chose to be a coon.
She congratulating them for being coons, bro.
Right.
And I hope it's lended on the other side of the coin.
Yeah, I just wonder, what I do wonder about is not a 14-year-old who's in a picture 3 years after Brown versus Board of Education, right, when things are desegregated and people are opposing it. I don't wonder about that. I don't wonder about 65 years ago when, even if you weren't standing and protesting, a lot of people still believe what they believed about racism, about black people. I don't wonder about that. I don't even wonder about how, even if there was another incident in Arkansas with 9 kids trying to segregate.
Right across the city,
Bingo.
Right in the same city,
So
right across a few miles away.
I don't wonder about that.
Right.
But what I will say is now you're 80 and you're an owner, and forget the picture. This is separate of the picture. You have an opportunity. And that, I think, was what the article was trying to point to. You have an opportunity to change hiring practices. You have an opportunity to help change even your kids and the culture of the NFL. Jerry Jones is a trailblazer. And when it comes to owners, a lot of owners don't really like him.
Right.
They don't really rock with him, right? I've been in meetings with owners. I've helped them go. They don't really. He's a trailblazer. Yeah. And so why not be a trailblazer when it comes to not only hiring, but also.
Bro, ain't nothing worse than a big coon, bro.
Con. All right. See, Stephanie got this spirit right here. Let me pull this picture up. It's not even just Stephanie. There's a lot of our people got this spirit right here. Right? When the destruction of Esau happened, right? This is the spirit of Esau. This is the spirit of Jake, man. Right? You see the destruction of Esau, right? This is our people, man. All right, well, come. But all praise to the Most High, to the Father, of Isaac and Jacob. You know, all praise to the Most High that, you know, the Most High is putting this truth out in this earth, that we're waking up the people who are the true Jews, the children of Israel. You know, I pray that everybody was edified, that everybody was taking notes. I pray that everybody that's in the video, that's in the live stream, continues to stay in the spirit, walk in the spirit. I pray that the Most High continues to put blessings upon you. The water for everybody that continues to like, share, and subscribe on the videos. You know, we are in the process of trying to build a school to build a congregation for our people in the Lee County, Fort Myers area. And we just asked for a $7 donation, you know, from everyone that tunes in. And for all this, and trust me, we look at the analytics, right? We see everybody that's not subscribed. Please, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, man. Right? Don't just dine and dash. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Drop a comment. Right? We see the percentages. Right? You got over 70% of people that's unsubscribed that's watching the video, and only 30% are subscribed. Right? So let's continue to subscribe to the video. Right? Share this to your family, your brothers and sisters. Right? That's trying to be put on that walk. Right? Of keeping the commandments of the Most High. You know, I pray that everybody was edified. Khan, you know, for me, that and I yield on that. If any brothers got anything else they want to say on that.
I think you said it all.
Khan, all praise to the power of Isaac and Jacob. I pray that everybody is edified. Continue to tune in to our weekly camp videos. We appreciate everybody that continues to tune in. You know, shalom to everybody that's in the chat. You know, continue to stay in and walk in the spirit. And with that, I say shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel and death and destruction of Babylon. Shalom.
Shalom. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.